The next lesson, how to choose your pilot projects. So, the workbook that you have as part of this series enables you to go through and look at the tasks you're doing, the interval you're doing them at, the time you're spending on those tasks, the tech you're using, the monthly costs. And what you want to do is keep in mind that a little bit of AI can go a really long way. You don't have to infuse AI into every aspect of what you're doing. So, this workbook is available for download, and I'm going to talk about this workbook as we're going through today. So the key is you want to be able to assess this, and the main thing you're looking at is that again. So let me jump through these: category, task, interval, hours, tech, cost. I don't have labor built in here. You can build labor in if you'd like, and then the value to intelligent automate. So this last block is what I want to talk about. The value to intelligent automate is the main thing. If you're sitting down and just trying to do this really quick just to get a sense. So maybe as soon as this course ends, you just want to start jotting ideas down. Download the workbook, focus on the task use case column and the value to intelligently automate column. You can fill in the rest of it at any point, and you should really take time and think this through. But what you want to do is get a bunch of ideas down of things you can do. The other thing you can try is go into ChatGPT Plus, the paid version ideally, and say, I am a marketer. I do email and manage the website, and I handle analytics, and here are the tasks I do. What are the best ways I can use AI to drive efficiency and performance? And tell it to give you some tasks or use cases you should consider. So you can use ChatGPT or any of these chatbots as an assistant to help you even think through this. So again, the value to intelligently automate is the main thing, and that's a subjective rating. It's just you saying, well, if I'm spending 50 hours a month doing this task and I don't really even enjoy it, if AI could help me do 50% of that, that would be an enormous value. There may alternatively be something you spend 50 hours a month doing that you love and you don't want AI to help you with. So even though it could, the value to intelligently automate something you already enjoy is not going to be very high. You may give it a 1 because you don't want AI to assist it. You enjoy doing that process and you think it's valuable to you. The ability to intelligently automate kind of comes later. That's kind of once you've centered it on the ones you want to do. Is there actually technology out there to do it? Can you afford the technology? Is it something you can build yourself? So the ability is basically, is there tech able to do this? So again, value to intelligently automate, you're looking at the things that you could use AI to assist with, and you're considering things like the time and money saved and the better chance you have of achieving a goal. That gives you your 1 to 5 rating. 5 is this would change my life. 1 is not a big deal. And then your ability to intelligently automate. Do you actually have the technology, the resources you would need to be able to automate that task? And so what you have with this course is the workbook. So you have the sample workbook we just went through. There is also the clean template workbook. This is the one you work in. So there's pre-populated drop downs for the 5 Ps. You can go through our 5 categories that we talk about. There are then built-in categories for marketing. So if you want to think through it by advertising, analytics, blogging, so pick the ones you're involved in, and then you can just start adding tasks based on those things. That's how I kind of like to do it, because it helps structure my thinking. So I'll go down this list and say, okay, analytics, what are all the things I do every month related to analytics? And I'll just write all those use cases down. The same thing for, say, email. What am I involved in, or what does my team do if you're doing it for your team? So use this clean workbook, download it. If you're looking for inspiration and ChatGPT didn't give you enough ideas, there is also this sample use case tab at the bottom. So that is the final tab in the workbook. And there's I think there's 50 or 60 example use cases structured within the 5 Ps. And so you can use this as an inspiration. You can copy and paste these over to that clean template, or you can go through and just apply some ratings here if you want. So these should give you a really good head start for brainstorming and ideating use cases that you might want to infuse AI into that can then help you find those pilot projects. The other way to do this is what we call the job description method. So when Mike and I teach this, we'll actually say, go grab your job description. So this is Mike's as the Chief Content Officer of Marketing Institute. And you can go through and look at the things you're responsible for doing. You may find things on your job description that you haven't been doing. So these are things you were supposed to do, but you're not. that's a pretty good place to infuse AI. Maybe you could start delivering the things you haven't been delivering. Otherwise, you can look at this and say, yeah, this is 20% of my month. If I can find, some AI tools to help me with this, I can get to these other things I'm not getting done. And that's my basic feeling with a lot of this. As we look to intelligently automate and we drive efficiencies and we save 20%, 30% of our time, redistribute that to the stuff that isn't getting done. We all have more than enough work to do in a day. So keep that kind of wish list or sandbox of things you can be doing with the time that you're freeing up. One way we recommend doing this is run an internal workshop. So it's always great to involve the team in this effort. So by bringing teams together, you can do it just with marketing. You could do the different components of marketing if you want, depending on how your organization is structured. You may have a demand team, an audience team, a support team, whatever it may be, a product team. So bring them all together and do like a marketing focused one. Or you can bring other areas of the company together and have them focus on their function or area of the organization. So I think the key here is you want to get people involved and get them enthusiastic, make them feel like they're a part of this, break through the fear and uncertainty for them. So use it as a chance to educate them, get them involved in the process of evaluating AI, be transparent with them about how you're thinking about it as an organization. And so I think all of those things can be very valuable. Now, if you need help with this, Mike and I do run applied AI workshops for clients. So we'll come in, we'll run a half day, sometimes a full day event. These can be, tens of people or hundreds of people. They will personalize an intro to AI presentation for your team, customize it to your company and industry, go through dozens of use cases, show a ton of tech demos, kind of like we did with the generative AI course. We'll go through relevant tech demos, tailor it to, like I said, the company and the industry, some custom templates and worksheets, again, for your organization. And then we'll take all the findings from those workshops and do a summary report with key findings and recommendations. So some of our thoughts on which use cases seem to make the best sense from a prioritization standpoint, as well as any vendors we may be aware of that would be worth considering. So again, if you're a large organization and you want to bring us in to help you run this, just reach out to us. We have the AI workshops on the site, and we're happy to have a conversation with you about doing that. So regardless of whether we come in and help you do this or you run your own internal workshop, a few key things to keep in mind. You want to have very clear, narrowly defined use cases. Again, it's really important that these things are very well defined. You need to have an owner for a pilot project. So someone who's responsible for making sure that this is seen through and done the right way. 3, you want to make sure you know how you're going to measure whether or not it was successful. So if it's going to be time saved, that's fine. If it's quality of output, if it's getting something done that isn't otherwise getting done, whatever it is, you want to have a SMART goal related to this pilot project. You want to properly commit the time and resources needed to onboard and train the people who are going to be involved in it. So let's say you go get ChatGPT team for 3 months and you want your marketing team to be using it to be doing content creation and email and improving the website or whatever those pilot projects are going to be. You have to teach the team how to use ChatGPT team properly in order to be able to effectively evaluate, did it work or not? Too often what we see is people get all excited, they go get a couple of AI tools, you go get Descript, you go get ChatGPT, and then they don't teach them how to use it. And then 3 months goes by and everybody's like, did we get value out of this? Should we keep the subscription? So again, clear use case, have an owner who can answer that question, who is responsible for answering that question. Make sure you are clear and your team is clear how you're going to measure success, do proper onboarding and training. And then my other recommendation is, if at all possible, do not sign up for an annual plan with these vendors. Things are moving really, really fast, and you don't know for sure if your team is actually going to see this through. So if at all possible, even if it costs a little more, do the monthly payment plan until you prove that you're actually going to use and scale this technology and this use case. The other reason for this is these things fail. No matter what you do, even if you follow those 5 principles I just gave you, there are going to be pilot projects that just don't work. So you want to be able to experiment, learn from that, and then adapt. And you also want to make sure you have support from your executive team for this approach to AI projects, that they understand things aren't always going to work, but we're going to have a plan. We're going to measure it. We're going to have an owner that's responsible for ensuring we follow through on this. We're going to train people, and we're not going to overcommit to an expensive technology until we know that it's actually going to work for us. So to follow that out, the thing I suggest is think about, once you have your use cases, once you've gone through and done your use case workbook, to look at the technology you use and then get it all set within like a 30-day period. You can't take months to do this. The tech's moving too fast. So within 30 days of locking in the pilot projects you want to do, find your vendor, get everything set, and then get it activated. Like, move fast, and then spend 90 days testing the technology, testing those use cases. And at the end of the 90 days, the person who's owning the pilot project has to make a recommendation whether we keep this and scale it, or whether we're done and we move on to the next one. So you want to have this very clear process for how these things are going to run, and that ensures you can actually start to move from piloting to scaling within the organization. So again, in courses 8 to 17, we explore a ton of use cases and vendors that'll help inspire you. So keep that workbook handy as you're going through those courses with Mike, because he's going to do advertising, analytics, content marketing, email, sales, social media. He's going to go through a bunch of examples for you. So that should give you, again, if you're struggling to come up with your own ideas, there'll be a wealth of ideas within those 10 courses to check out.